Welcome, witches, wizards, and muggles alike, to another enchanting episode of Magical Tales from the Slytherin Common Room, bringing your favorite Harry Potter fanfiction to audio format. So sit back, relax, and Accio headphones, and let the magic begin.
2 Weddings and a Manhunt by Deydralinne, Chapter 7, August 5th, 2003. "You're not pregnant though, right?" Draco whispered to her the second they cleared the office doorway. She stopped in her tracks and looked at him in annoyed disbelief. Suddenly, she was hitting him with a stack of paperwork they had been given. "No, I'm not frickin' pregnant," she hissed. "Okay, I was just checking," Draco grumbled. They found themselves awkwardly lingering in the ministry foyer. "Right, well, I will see you at the wedding then," Draco trailed off. "Wait, what? You don't expect me to go to that, do you?" Hermione stuttered. Draco raised an eyebrow at her. "Astoria told you to be there, and you agreed." "When did that happen?" Her pitch in her voice rose an octave. "When we got here." He threw his arms away from his body. "Oh, right. Where do I go? What time?" she mumbled. "Zabini Estate. Be there by 3. It's a formal event, so, try to dress appropriately." Hermione's eyes narrow in annoyance. "Believe it or not, Malfoy, I do understand the proper etiquette for a Hermione! Harry's shrill voice carried across the foyer. They both looked up to see him marching furiously towards them. "Yeah, that one's all you. Don't be late." Draco exhaled and stepped quickly into the flow network. Before it could carry him away, though, he swore he heard Hermione's snarky voice saying, "Oh, you absolute coward." He couldn't help but smirk. But that was quickly replaced by dread as he found himself in the foyer of Malfoy Manor, face to face with his mother, who looked absolutely livid with him. "Mother, you look as lovely as ever. I don't have time to chat. I'm afraid running behind schedule." "I just came to change and get the rings." He tried to move quickly, but the woman was fast and matched his pace. "Eloped, Draco. Are you serious right now? What does that girl have over you? Are you being blackmailed?" Draco scoffed at her shrill accusations. "Merlin, Mother, I'm not being blackmailed." "Then explain yourself, Draco. You never even told me you two were involved, and you haven't mentioned her once since you were at school. You can hardly blame me for jumping to that conclusion. It makes sense. What does she want? Is it money?" Her legs were moving twice as fast as his to keep up, and even despite her floor-length gown, she chased him up the stairs. Draco threw her a look. "She has a Merlin of first order, Mother. I doubt she wants for anything. She isn't blackmailing me. I don't have time for this. I'm running late enough as it is," he grumbled, reaching his floor. "Then I truly do not understand, Draco. Are you blackmailing her? Lord Draco, I swear, if you drag us into the bad press again, I'll—" Draco spun to face her. "You'll what, Mother? Believe me, there is not a single thing that I could do that will result in a bigger blow to our reputation than what Father has already done. And that includes eloping with Hermione fucking Granger on a stupid drunken whim." She looked at him as if he had slapped her. He didn't have time for this. He should be at the estate already. "Malfoy," she growled. "It's Hermione fucking Malfoy now, remember?" She spun away from him and glided back down the corridor. He wished people would stop reminding him of that. It would have to be dealt with later. He really was running very late. "There he is." Blaise smiled in the mirror at Draco's reflection as he tried to straighten his bow tie. "Yes, sorry, I'm here. I have the rings. It's all going to be fine." Draco stepped forward to help him. "Oh, I know, mate. I'm not worried. You could have been a no-show. We could have no rings. The entire day could go to hell, but nothing will stop me from marrying Astoria today." He smiled, and Draco could tell he meant it. He swallowed nervously. Blaise was doing it right. He had found someone he was in love with and wanted to spend the rest of his life with. Draco, however, was now tied to a witch that frankly he wanted very little to do with. Blaise must have read the expression on his face, because he nodded his head up at him. "I take it that things didn't go well at the ministry?" Draco searched Blaise's eyes. Blaise was calm. He was at peace. There were no doubts about him and Astoria's future. He didn't tiptoe to protect his nerves. "The hearing will be 12 months from the date of submission of the paperwork. In the meantime, They have requirements for us to meet: marriage counseling, letters of support in our divorce, living together. Blaze hummed. Makes sense. Draco frowned at him. It makes the opposite of sense, Blaze. We're seeking a divorce. These are things that seek to make sure that it's truly what both of you want. If you come out of it at the end of the year having lived together and done everything in your combined powers to make the marriage work, and yet it simply doesn't, they will feel more justified in severing that bond. When he put it like that, it made sense in a roundabout way. There. Draco let go of his bow tie. Why couldn't you just wear a regular tie anyway? Blaze smiled back at Draco's reflection. Bow ties are cool. Draco shook his head with a smile. So when do you move in together? Blaze carried on, moving on to adjusting his cufflinks. Charlene said it had to be from today onwards. I don't know, man. It almost feels like it would be easier to just accept that we will be married and carry on with our lives as they were before. Blaze scoffed at him. You're an idiot. That is never going to happen. Even if you both agree to that, it's only a matter of time before word gets out, and then it will be a media field day. Rita will be trailing Granger everywhere she goes for the rest of her life, trying to catch her doing something wrong. Society girls will swoop on her like vultures to pick at her carcass. Well, that was graphic. And dark, Draco mumbled. Malfoy, Theo grinned, stepping into the room. Draco rolled his eyes. Oh, for Merlin's sake. Blaze threw a grin Theo's way and pulled him in for a hug. It seemed the reality of his fast-approaching wedding was enough for Blaze to put aside his earlier anger towards their friend. Blaze stepped back and eyed Theo's suit. Looks good, he smiled at him. We don't even need to change you for the funeral. Theo frowned. Funeral? Draco chuckled. Perhaps he wasn't over it. Yours, mate. Astoria and I might be caught up in the wedding day bliss, but Daphne is out for blood. Blaze patted his shoulder. Theo swallowed hard. Draco couldn't contain the laughter. The grounds were beautifully decorated. Wildflowers had been artfully intertwined with arches of roses and twinkling lights everywhere, and Astoria had looked simply radiant. Their wedding had gone off without a hitch. He suspected largely due to the aggressiveness of Astoria's older sister, Daphne. At one point, he had seen her holding Theo by the scruff of his collar against the edge of the house, swearing that if he put another toe out of line, his great-grandchildren would still be dealing with the repercussions of his actions. Later, he had heard her snapping at someone for putting the wrong vase of flowers on a table. I think I'm in love. Theo melted dramatically against the bar where Draco was getting himself a fire whiskey. Is that so? He chuckled, and followed Theo's gaze to the aforementioned sister. He laughed again and shook his head. Nope, that's never going to happen. He turned back to the bar. Just you wait. Our babies will be wild and beautiful. Theo sighed. Draco smirked and rolled his eyes. Though, on second thoughts, if your divorce goes off without a hitch, I might swoop in on Hermione instead. Draco's head shot up, once again looking toward what had caught Theo's attention. Certainly, she had fulfilled the brief. Hermione stood at the edge of an open venue that had been propped up for the reception. She looked entirely elegant enough to be seen here among the upper class of their society in a rouge pink dress. But it wasn't the elegance that had Draco's breath catching in his throat. She looked like herself. She looked beautiful, soft, and real. He frowned, catching his thoughts. He shook them from his mind, and he turned his attention back towards Daphne. Well, I suppose, if that's the case, I might have better luck with Daphne. Draco smirked at the horrified look that Theo threw him. Don't you dare. Draco laughed and grabbed a glass of champagne from the bar, weaving through the crowd towards where Hermione was now talking with Blaze and Astoria and handing them a small gift box. It's not much, but I hope if nothing else it brings you a smile. Hermione spoke quietly as the happy couple lifted the box. For a moment, there was silence before laughter erupted from Blaze's chest and a genuine smile washed over Astoria's face. Draco peeked into the box and saw a pair of beautiful crystal penguins. They are Magellanic penguins, just like the ones from the zoo. They are incredibly loyal to their partners and mate for life. Hermione smiled radiantly at them, and damn it all if he didn't hate her a little bit for it.